Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast, presented by Heath, Riles BBQ, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
All right, we are back for another episode of Shootin The Que, and today we're joined by my lovely wife, Candace, and our good friend, Jake. Big Jake, what's going on, buddy?
Man, it's great to be back on a podcast. Great to come hang out and everything. You know, we got a lot of new things going on, and, man, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I'm going to jump right back into it. Tell us what's sitting right here.
So, you know, a lot of my followers already know. Some of them don't, but I've been developing some new rubs. We're hitting the market. We're awful close. Got right here, you already know everything gets at OSPG. And we got my barbecue rub. Starting out these first two rubs, they'll be available in the next couple of weeks. Be selling online mostly, a few small stores, but, man, this is the first big step into what Barbecue Big Jake has coming for the future.
So I got to ask, man, I know you've been making your own SPG and own barbecue rub for a long time. You know, we've talked about it a long time. What kind of inspired you to go ahead and pull the trigger on it?
Well, you know, that's actually a really good question. So, you know, I see it in the videos and people say, you know, what's in your SPG? What's that? And it's a good product. I love it. I put that stuff on everything. The barbecue rub is great. It's got a lot of sweet notes. It's got savory notes. It's just my favorite blend. And it's a way to give people, my friends and followers, a piece of Big Jake out there. So when they're cooking, they know that they're using what I'm using.
Well, the last time we was together, you know, one of the most random questions come up. And you know what random question that was, right?
Which one's that?
How old you were. And now you've had a birthday, and we still hadn't found out how old you are. So now you're between 14 and...
Well, you know, I had a birthday a few months ago, and I was between 14 and 48. So for all y'all asking now, I'm between 15 and 49, by gosh.
15 and 49. Y'all heard it
Good
here.
range.
We're getting up there in the years.
Getting up there. Well, you know, ever since we met you, we've kind of hit it off. You come by Memphis in May and hung out with us. You're set to cook with us this year. You went to a Cape Girardeau event with us in Medicine and helped raise some money for a great fundraiser. Tell us your thoughts about the fundraiser and how all that played out in Cape Girardeau on the When Pigs Fly event.
I tell you what, the When Pigs Fly event, it was awesome. You know, as we talked about, you know, raising money for first responders and stuff like that, that's really near and dear to my heart. You know, I was happy to be there. We had a great team, had a great time. We pulled through with the win. You know, hope to be back next year. I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. And Memphis in May, like you said, I'm going to be there this year. And I think we said on the last podcast, but we'll be doing a lot more together this year, and I'm plumb happy about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always a good time. Well, it's good, too, that you live kind of semi-close. You live within a couple hours. So it's really not that bad of a commute back and forth and all that. So, and you actually live in between here and my farm and there. So my farm is kind of in between where I am now and your place, which is even better.
It's going to work out great.
Especially come hunting season, right?
Sure enough.
That's it. Well, you know, some of the funniest sayings rolled out of, or not sayings, basically comments off of the last podcast. Have you had time to catch up on any of those comments?
I caught up with the initial wave of them, but I haven't seen all of them. But, I mean, there's some really good ones there.
So we're going to read a few just to see if you saw these. So one of them was graduated with him in 1832. He's not a day over 11.
Yeah, I did see that one.
I was in the Roman Empire with Jake. He's 2,648. That's pretty good, the Roman Empire.
I'll give him that one.
He's 93. Me and him performed the first moon landing back in 69.
He doesn't have an age. He is like time, just goes on and on.
But one of the funniest comments about my age, I think, was on Instagram, and it said, this man's got homework and mortgage due on the same day.
That's pretty funny.
And I will say that was pretty good. Got homework and a mortgage due on the same day. That is a pretty good one. Oh, Lord.
But, you know, I get back at him every now and then. I had one comment on Instagram. I'd made a little video about myself and talked about, you know, buying a house and stuff, settling down. And somebody commented, they said, how'd you buy a house at the age of 13? I said, well, you pick up enough shifts overtime as a school hall monitor, you can make big things happen.
As a school hall monitor. Oh, Lord have mercy. How much camping have you done so far?
This year, I haven't done any, but it's coming. I've got the camper. It's ready to go. I've just kind of been waiting on the weather to warm up a little bit. I'll be honest, when I camp, I like to get the boat out, get the tube out, have a good time. So I do more camping when it gets a little warmer. But, we're ready to go. I'm just waiting on them temperatures to come up. We're finna have a ball.
Yeah, here lately, the last few weeks, it can't make up its mind whether it wants to be 75 or 45 or 35, actually, I should say. It's been pretty chilly. I think this morning we woke up with about 27, which for this time of year, in February, I guess is about normal, right?
Yeah, that's just the South, though. It's not going to decide where it's going to stay. It's going to go back and forth. But, the groundhog says we're coming towards spring and, fishing, camping, turkey season coming up. I'm ready for it. It needs to hurry up and get here.
Well, with that being said, what are you looking the most forward to when it comes to the side of barbecue? Because I guess I should say, what are your plans this year? Are they going to differ anyway from last year? That kind of how you done? Because you're still a full-time firefighter and paramedic.
Yeah, I'm still a full-time paramedic, and that's not changing right now. So I do have a lot of traveling planned out this year, and that's going to play into things. I know we're doing quite a bit of stuff together. I'm going to be at a couple of music concert events, weekend events, stuff like that, and be trying to show people my season, do some cooking, do some hanging out with people, some meet and greets, and that's going to be nice. But at the end of the day, I'm still got my main job serving people. So I guess that's one thing I'm taking in this year is keep serving people, whether it be providing them with seasoning or helping them out in their time of need. That's not going to change, but I will be doing more traveling this year, hopefully more camping than last year even, and just, a lot of barbecue cooking because, old Mo says it best, barbecue's a family. And, that family's just going to keep growing.
That's exactly right. It is. Have you got any ideas about doing any different food series this year or anything like that on your filming?
So I've been thinking on that. And, of course, I'm bringing back campsite cooking. I did a little poll the other day about the Summertime Burger Series. A lot of people want to see it back, but I've had a lot of people request Dutch oven meals, one-pot meals, stuff like that. And we can take it to a side to where you're outdoor cooking with the Dutch oven and still doing one-pot meals. It doesn't all have to be crock pot and stovetop meals or in the oven. But we're going to do some of that too because you already know when it comes to my recipes, not everybody has a grill or a smoker, but everybody deserves to do it how they like. So we're going to mix it up, kind of keep things going all different directions.
And that's me too. I need to start doing some recipes kind of in the house, on the stove and in the oven and things like that too, because we do a lot of cooking at home that I don't film or showcase that I probably should.
A lot of people write in too, that like you said, they don't have grills or stuff like that, and they want to cook that recipe like you did it, but how can I do it? But I use my oven, and they'll ask.
That's right.
So.
Well, and there's got to be a balance. We had all that snow come through for over a week, and I was doing a lot of indoor recipes, and I was getting comments, you just don't even cook outside anymore. Man, y'all want to give a man a break. It's 6 inches of snow outside.
Jake, I learned a long time ago. I try to read a lot of the comments, but it is hard some days because, man, people just beat you down for no reason, and they have no clue that it's snowing here for a solid week, and you're still trying to produce content with it freezing and probably might have a busted pipe or, frozen water. And, man, people have no remorse. I see it every day.
No, and I get it, online, everybody just kind of gets to say what they want to.
Yeah, nobody gets punched in the mouth anymore. I hate to say it like that, but,
it's just the truth.
I'm not going to try to say it to a man if I wouldn't say it to his face.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of that online. I'm not trying to bring up any drama, but a lot of that online is, you know, if it was in somebody's personal space, they wouldn't be the tones that they're using online, I guess. I hate those all caps messages, you know what I mean? All caps. Like they're yelling
Screaming
at me through
at
the
you.
computer.
6 or 7 exclamation points. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, people won't say in person what they'll say online, and that's part of what's wrong with this world today.
Well, I pray for it every night. I hope it gets better, but it is what it is. I'm going to do my part.
Exactly.
Let me say that. Try to always have a smile on my face. But, you know, talking about cooking and the campsite cooking and stuff like that, that's a great point, because going back to those one-pot meals and Dutch ovens and things like that, we've been doing a lot in Dutch ovens and cast iron and different things like that. And
Heath cooked for like a family of 100 last night, and you know, it was just.
I made a pot of soup. I mean, I can't help it. Was 18 quarts. I mean, that ain't. I'm sorry. I mean, I went to the store, and you know how it is. You go make a bigger pot of soup, and you buy some frozen bags of vegetables, and you know what? I got 5 pounds of meat in the cart over here. I don't know how to make a small pot of chili or a small pot of soup.
I don't think you can.
It's
the
against
pot
the rules.
was so big that it was a problem for me to clean it.
That's the biggest pot I had.
Like I needed to be outside with the water hose, but it was too cold.
Well, you're lucky I didn't have a cast iron pot with a boat paddle, Jake. That's what I'm really looking for. I don't know if where you grew up, and I was asking her this yesterday. I can remember they called it Christmas in the Cotton Patch, and they always had a big like Christmas theme show going on right in the Cotton Patch about Jesus being born and whatnot. But the food side of that, how they kind of got everybody there, the best I can remember, I may be telling some of this wrong, I was a young child, but they always cooked 3 pots of stew. And one of them was spicy and 2 of them were not. And everybody brought sleeves of crackers and paper bowls and things like that. And you made a donation or whatever. And it went to the fire department, was usually one doing that. And it was like the whole Christmas thing, sit in your car and watch it with your kids and eat stew. But I always thought that was the neatest thing. And so, you know, barbecue is all cool, but there's really not a lot of barbecue in the winter months. So I've been doing this year probably more pot-style meals between soups and chilies and stews and gumbos and red beans and rice. And I don't equate to that just as a holiday food, some of that Cajun dishes. I mean, just one big pot meals. Did y'all have anywhere like that when you were coming up? Had done any big stews like that or anything?
Well, you know, we have done that with the fire department some, trying to raise money. And, you know, big cast iron pot. You know, you sell it by the gallon or by the bowl. And, heck, we've done white beans like that, too, for the fire department. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's a good thing for the community to come around. But yeah, the one-pot meals and stuff like that are great. And that's like the red beans and rice. You know, I sent you that message the day yours went out. And it's funny how that happens, you know, because we've talked about it before. You know, you'll film something one day, and I just filmed that 2 days ago, or that's on the schedule for tomorrow. I don't know.
And it hadn't dropped yet, and we'll talk about it. Both of us be done filmed it, and we'll have no clue we hadn't talked to each other.
And I don't know if great minds think alike or terrible minds think alike, but.
Well, according to some, y'all are related. So maybe that's what it is.
I mean, maybe it is.
The internet says that.
Yeah, I mean, the internet says a lot of things. But
it does. I mean, hell, me and Malcolm are brothers, too. They say that.
Well, I used to be related to Malcolm, too, so they don't know who I'm related to.
I mean, I think we all had some kinfolks probably running a circle at some point, somewhere. I don't know.
May have.
It is Mississippi. I mean, I can say that.
I got kinfolk in Mississippi. You never know.
Oh, for sure. But keep talking about those pot meals like that. I'm wanting to find me a big cast iron pot, like a 30, 40, 50-gallon pot. I'm going to have to buy one coming up. I really don't know why. You're looking at me. I see you cutting me out of my eyes over here. But I'm wanting to do something. Or who's going to
eat all that food? You're going to have to donate it somewhere.
For some odd reason, I've been thinking lately, I want to go to a chili contest. It'd be cool to carry a cooler of beer, a 4-foot table, and a pot and a burner, and just go hang out.
Make chili.
I mean, I'm used to when I'm on these barbecue guys. You know how much prep goes into an event for somebody like me? A lot.
Absolutely.
And a pot of chili, I can get down with that. And a drink in my hand, I can get down with it.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to find us a chili contest to go to, Jake. We go
Count
crash a chili contest.
Count me in.
We can both cook on the same tent.
Sure enough.
We need to do that. We need to go to a chili contest. I want to do one.
I can put you in touch with somebody who does that.
Well, I really want to do a chili contest. No joke. I think I do. It would be fun to go do one just to hang out and do some chili.
They have them all the time.
I know. I don't want to travel to Texas or nothing.
No.
That far just for
I
chili.
think they have some not too far from here,
I
too.
think Malcolm's got one coming up in a few weeks at his shop.
I did see
I think
that.
it was busy then, though.
Yeah.
Not mistaken.
Yeah, just let me know. I'm in.
That would be something fun, something different to do.
I think, doesn't one chili contest, like, have several different entries, though? Because, so I have an aunt. She's technically not my aunt anymore, but she'll always be my aunt. She cooks chili contest. And I actually saw, I think this weekend she was at one, and I saw, because she always places, she does very well at them, the places that she got in like 2 different categories.
Yeah, I think there's maybe like a red style chili.
She placed in like a home style and a something else. So I guess they have different categories or
I don't
something.
know if they do like Texas style, no beans, and
I think they do have one with bean and one without. And
I think they do different like colors too, like
Yeah,
a green chili versus a
green
white
chili, a white chili,
maybe
and a red chili. Yeah, and which is really interesting. All of those are, but I'm just talking about just a plain old chili. I don't want a redneck contest. I ain't trying to be all that kind of.
I'm just saying, I think the official chili contest might have.
We need a People's Choice contest. Me and Jake can get this down, get it done on a People's Choice contest.
a little SPG, little beef rub in there.
That's
We'll
it.
have it.
We make it work. That beef rub get a little spicy though. You better lay off it. It can get a little hot.
It does.
Oh, I proved that before.
Oh, I've proved it to plenty of that soup last night. Back got a little warmed in it. Had a little nose run. It was a good, perfect.
You
level.
said you put Fireshire in it too.
I put a little bit of Fireshire, Worcestershire in it, about a half cup.
I tell you, that Fireshire, you let it marinate,
It'll get you.
boy, it get hot.
Hey,
Good,
chicken
though.
tenders are good with that, or a chicken sandwich with the Fireshire. It is.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, really good. Wow. So I have to ask this, moving on and talking about barbecue, what's your favorite thing to cook barbecue wise?
As far as the actual cook, I love cooking briskets. Which I do all my briskets Texas style. I don't do a sweet brisket. I don't do a sauce brisket. Salt, pepper, garlic. Get that good black bark on there. Wrap it, let it roll. Hang out, have buddies come over, sit around all night, feed the fire. Man, there's nothing like it.
So I'm sure with you saying that's your favorite one, I'm sure you've cooked it on all your pits, right?
I have.
So which one do you prefer it off of?
To eat, I prefer it off of my wood burner. Now, to cook, you throw it on that pellet and go take you a nap. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But to eat, there's a difference in cooking live, or not live, but cooking actual hickory
Real fire,
versus a pellet.
So have you done the long, low, and slow brisket with 200 degrees or so?
I have.
How did it turn out for you?
So for me personally, and I will say, I did it on a pellet. I had went up the night before shift to work and threw it on the pellet grill. Set it 200, went home, went to bed, come on shift the next morning. I had trouble getting my bark to set because I wasn't able to tend to it. The temperature wasn't really high enough to get the bark good and dry. So I had to mess with it a little bit after coming in the next morning, get my bark right before I wrapped it. But it still came out really good.
So do you have to increase the temps? What you done?
I did. After I got on shift the next day, it went, I think, 13 hours at 200. Then I turned it up to about 250.
How big was it?
It was, I'm say between 14 and 16 pounds.
I will say I have noticed on the longer briskets, did you cook it fat side up or fat side down on a pellet grill that low?
Fat side up.
I have noticed that cooking it fat side up on the pellet grill low and slow, to me, works a little better than cooking it meat up and fat side down when you're doing that slow that long. And I don't really know. I have not watched it that close. I need to do side by side on the same grill. And that may be a video coming up this summer that I do, because we just got done filming briskets, and I don't think they've released yet. They're getting ready to release. One of them is. But I probably need to do that side-by-side comparison, thinking about that, because cooking them separately in my mind now, when we were talking about that, it seemed like to me the fat side up one always rendered a little better and kept a little more jiggle to it and juice. And I don't know if it was my whole self-basting, maybe from the fat cap rendering. I don't know, but you didn't see that last brisket I cooked fat side up, did you?
I was not at home. No.
It was definitely better than the To me, hot and fast one.
See, I cook all mine fat side up, and I've never cooked a hot and fast brisket. So I actually have some plans this year myself to do some side by side comparison briskets on different grills, as far as the actual cook, pellet versus wood burner versus some of the new grills they got that are pellet, but they have you can feed the wood chunks and get extra smoke, and just do a side by side comparison of those is in the plans for this year. But yeah, I always do fat side up. To me, like you said, the self-basting, the fat renders a little better. It's kind of one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of things for me. So,
well, and I was just relating back to my competition days of cooking it meat side up, fat side down the way we do, and that works out. But I was also cooking those briskets in a pan on a rack, and so it was not getting as much heat, to it as it would, and we were cooking at a higher temp. And that direct heat, I've cooked an array of briskets, and I do feel like a water pan below it on a drum cooker works better than no. And it's just so many different techniques and ways you could do it. It's crazy when it comes to briskets.
Oh, absolutely. And, there's more than one right way.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that claim that there's not. And it's kind of, I don't like arguing with people online, but I've been to events where people try to tell me how to do ribs. And it's like, man, I have cooked thousands of racks of ribs. I don't want to hear this from you. But I listen to try to be nice unless it's just so dumbfounded that, I don't want to hear it. But you're right. There is no perfect way to cook a brisket. It's several different techniques that'll get you to the end of the road, just like anything else that are great. It just depends on what you're cooking on mostly. And
absolutely. And, you already know my opinion on the subject. If you cook your brisket at 325 or you cook it at 225, if you're happy with the end result, who cares?
That's right.
That's all that matters.
Well, a lot of those trolls these days online, they get a little wild with that when it don't turn out like they think it should anyway in your video.
They may have never even cooked a brisket.
I would.
Some of them.
You make a good point by saying that.
I feel like a large piece of meat, whether it's brisket or beef ribs or whatever you want to say, some people feel intimidated by that, I think.
Why is it that they feel more intimidated by the beef large cuts of meat than they do the pork large cuts of meat?
Is it harder? I don't know. You don't have as much
wiggle room?
Yeah. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
I don't really think that would be either way a factor.
You hear a whole lot in the barbecue world, pork is forgiving, beef is not. So you have people kind of on the more novice side that they're scared to try brisket. They're scared to try the big beef ribs. And I always tell everybody, when I first started smoking, I went and bought a brisket. It's just money. You never know till you try it. And and learning to cook brisket, you're gonna mess some up.
But you're not scared to try that though. But a lot of people won't go spend $50, $60 even at Walmart or Kroger on a cheap brisket to mess it up because they don't know how their meal's gonna be. But they would do $20 rack of ribs or a $20 pork loin.
Well, and that's also I think with your larger cuts of meat like that. You get researching online and you look at the time frames. There's no set time. Anybody who's cooking barbecue has served late dinner.
You're right, unless you're planning that overnight brisket to
go.
Get it in the 150-ish range the next morning and then get it on up and get it off by 12 or 1 o'clock. If you're cooking low and slow, then it's got 3 or 4 hours of rest and you're eating at a normal time.
Yeah, I remember I think my second or third brisket I ever did, we were supposed to have dinner at 6 and I finally cut the brisket at 10 p.m. We've all done it.
Hey, yes, we have all done it plenty of times back in the day. I'm a little bit better at pre-planning now on some of that in my times, and I would much rather do it low and slow overnight, especially on the pellet grill if I'm feeding a crowd, just because I don't want to be rushed the next day. At least I know that pork butt or that brisket will be at 160-ish, 160, close to it. At 200 degrees, if I put it on between 8 and 9 at night, whatever. Pork butt can go on at 10 and get that same effect. I don't know how big it is, but it's kind of almost a foolproof method, of doing that.
And I mentioned the bark earlier, and it was nothing in my experience with it. I mean, the bark, it was crank the temp up, put a little heat to the bark, a little beef broth. It was great. The brisket still turned out great. But that's definitely, if I'm going to do brisket station or something like that, that's the method I'll use because, man, it's just foolproof. It's easy.
How long are you holding your brisket?
I try to hold for 4 hours.
I would love to do that too.
Usually 4 to 5 is what I try for, but a lot of times ends up being 2. I won't ever slice under an hour. I mean, that's just that's minimum is 1 hour, but I try to hold 4 or 5.
Yeah, I did notice one of the last briskets I cooked on the hot and fast one. I did not use a blanket in my cooler, in my Yeti. I just put it in the bottom, and it tightened up on me a little bit than from not using a blanket the time before. And it was really cold outside that day. But all those little factors key in. Why it wasn't absolutely perfect. It was great. Still a good eatable brisket. But it definitely tightened up a little bit. And I think we were about 4.5 hours of rest on that thing. I think that's right. About 4.5 hours. But,
well, and I mean, just like back to those tips and tricks, if it's cold outside, I had been known to put a little hot water in my cooler, dump it out before I put my brisket in there.
Well, I can tell you this, in a contest, the Cambro, I'd slide a pan in the bottom of it and get a pot of boiling water going at 6 a.m. when I got to put ribs on. And I called it Heating the Cambro, and I'd take that pot of water and set it in there on that pan until my first meat went in there. And that way the Cambro was already steamed and hot and not cold from the morning before.
Oh, that's a great way to do it.
Don't put a sterno in the Cambro, though, and lock the door. We've had some friends that thought that was okay to heat their Cambro up that way, and they opened it, and the sides, the slots that the trays fit on, they were melted.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that happen.
Yeah, they I don't know what they were thinking, but, yeah. Doing a perfectly good $300 Cambro. At least it wasn't my Cambro. It is what it is.
You're right.
Well, talking about brisket, what is your next favorite thing to cook?
My next favorite thing, I'm probably gonna go steaks.
So still beef.
Man, I like some good beef.
So where would the third thing roll into?
Probably gonna hit ribs.
That's when you'd hit ribs.
And you?
For me, as far as the cooking goes and all that, and I guess like seeing people's happy face or whatever you want to call it, ribs. Ribs have been my number one. Number two, it would probably have to be a steak like Jake, I guess, or a pork chop. That would be a hard call. I'd really have to sit down and think about that. I'm a huge pork chop man, especially bone-in.
I like a good chop myself, but, it's kind of like you said, enjoyment of people you're cooking for, too. Somebody ready to sit down and have a good steak, what they're going to have with a cold beer, or they're going to have with a baked potato, whatever. Somebody's excited to eat that steak.
Oh, you're right. They are. And I used to feel that way truly about steak until I quit beef for, not quit it, but I really slowed down on red meat for a year and a half. I didn't eat a steak in a year and a half or a year and a few months trying to lose weight and just lay off red meat. And it was, I ate a lot of chicken and a lot of fish.
You still don't eat a lot of red meat now.
I still don't eat a huge ton amount, but I mean, cooking for videos and things like that. But I don't eat a lot of steaks and stuff. No, I probably eat more ground beef than I do anything. I'm a burger man.
Can't beat a good
That would
burger.
probably, honestly, after thinking about it and saying all this to you, I'm gonna have to go burger. It'd probably be my number two, no matter what way you prepare it. Smashed, regular, over a steak, it'd probably be a burger. It really would.
Hey, you can't beat a good burger.
I've got to agree. When it's good, it's good.
I'm just not a burger person, though.
I am.
I mean, I'll eat them. I prefer steak. I'll eat a burger, though.
You're a filet person to the end. You don't want nothing but a filet. You don't want a ribeye.
I don't like it to be chewy and fatty. That's just not my thing.
That's the best part of the steak.
I can't do it.
I like a good ribeye, but as I've gotten older, I really like a good filet. Really
what
like
was that cut of beef that we ate in Atlanta? Rochelle got it. and everybody like raved over it at that restaurant. Remember?
The last restaurant we were just in together?
With Malcolm and Chill.
Jacob, do you remember?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, it was Spinalis, wasn't it?
Was it just the Spinalis?
Yeah, it was.
Just the Spinalis part.
It was just Spinalis.
I thought it was something else.
It was a cap, ribeye cap.
Oh, I thought it was something else.
It was a ribeye cap. That's what it was.
Or was there another cut of beef at that restaurant that we talked about getting then?
No, it was a ribeye Spinalis.
Oh,
she got, but it wasn't rolled up. It was just flat. Yeah, it was just a flat cut. Yeah, you ever had a Spinalis like that? It is good. It's very good, but I'd probably still have to go with a good burger. I'm weird. I'm telling you, I'd rather have a good burger. So if those are your top things there, how many brisket videos have you done?
As of right now, I've done 3. With, of course, 3 more in the plans already for this year. But yeah, I've done 3 brisket videos so far.
So have you done the infamous smoked chuck roast, kind of like a brisket?
I have.
Have you ever smoked a pork belly like a brisket?
I did. I did a video on that as well. And I did the Trisket, the tri-tip, like a brisket.
Now, I have not. I don't think I've done the tri-tip like a brisket. I don't think I've done that one.
You know, that's one of those, you get people in the comments saying don't disrespect the tri-tip like that. But I'm just going to tell you, it was doggone good.
It was? I think Malcolm done a video on that, too. If I'm not mistaken, brisket like a tri-tip. It was really good. It was good. Out
of all the variations, and I love a pork belly like a brisket.
I thought the pork belly like a brisket was good. But
that tri-tip like a brisket, it was right. Like, I think I would take it over the chuck roast cooked like a brisket by far. Like I said, you'll get comments. Why are you disrespecting a tri-tip like that?
Well, you're going to have those people that say that no matter what.
Oh,
I hate to say it.
They boost the algorithm.
Well, you got that right, good or bad.
I welcome it.
They boost it. Oh, that is funny.
Well, talking about both of y'all cooking, one of the big social media trends that both of y'all did was the onion wrap Flying Dutchman from In and Out. So why don't y'all talk about how
did you like the Flying Dutchman?
Well, you know, I had to give everybody that crawl section, and I lost all sturdiness I had.
It was all gone when you give them that cross section.
Yeah. And I even said in the video, I had to make sacrifices for y'all. But as far as the flavor of the burger, it was great. I was really kind of iffy on how I'd like it because I'm not just a huge onion guy. Like, I'll eat them, but not just my favorite. But, you know, you put it with a good burger, had the W sauce in there, SPG. I think I put a little bit of beef rub in there, seasoned up. And I actually smoked my onions before I fried them off. Coated them in olive oil, a little SPG, and I smoked them for about an hour. And then I put them in the skillet and fried them.
When we decided to do one, we were at home filming that day, and it was like, well, let's make a Flying Dutchman. Everybody else is doing it. We'll jump online and do it. And I'm a huge onion eater. I could eat onion at every meal. And it was good, but maybe I would still like to have a piece of bread.
Oh, I agree.
I'm like everybody else on that. I don't forgot who's I seen that took one bite and then went and got a piece of bread and put the rest of it on bread. I don't remember who done that one. But I can understand from the keto standpoint, I guess, or whatever diet you're going for on that, no bread. But I'd rather be happy with some bread.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like it's too messy. I mean, if you wasn't putting on gloves and trying to do it, and I could see if you did cut yours, I could see where it completely fall apart. Because ain't nothing there but a little bit of hamburger patty. Them onions is gone if you cut them.
And that's, I was trying to hold the onions on the top and the bottom, and I didn't get the full onion bite of it. But, I mean, absolutely, it'd be better on bread.
Yeah, way better on bread. You know what? I wonder if you could take that after that and maybe almost like batter it in tempura batter and fry it. Like around the onions. You'd have to stick toothpicks in it.
Yeah, I mean, you had to put skewers through it and probably throw it in the freezer for a few minutes. Let it just kind of harden up a little bit to have some kind of sturdiness about it.
Yeah, probably would. I still got a steak I got to do coming up, a video. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, what we had at dinner that
Country
night?
fried New York strip.
We had it at a restaurant we went to. It was a
That's
special.
Same thing I said. I was like, tell me how that's prepared. And it's Southern Social up here at Germantown. And they take a New York strip. Standard New York strip, was it 16 ounce? 20 ounce? I don't even remember. 18. It was somewhere in that range. They grilled it off to almost rare, I guess. Took it off, chilled it, and then had grill marks on it and everything. Battered it up in country fried batter, drop it in the fryer for a minute, and then let it dry and put it on your plate.
So they didn't pound it out. They didn't get it thin. Really?
He asked before he ordered it.
I asked all those questions. How you doing this? Y'all running that through a tenderizer? What are you doing? You know what? You think a country fried steak just like me, right? Yeah. Country fried New York strip.
Steak, yeah.
No, this was 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, full-on cut New York strip, brother.
Wow.
That's what I said. But when they brought that, and it looked like a solid piece of country fried steak, 1.5 inches thick, and the gravy that they give with it, I'm telling you, 110% knockout, lights out. And I've been saying, we probably went there 6 months ago, and I've been saying I'm going to do that, and I hadn't done it yet. And I need to do it because it'd take me some practice to make sure I don't want to screw it up just winging it the first time. But that was an excellent spin on two traditional cuts of meat, fusing them together. Or not cuts of meat, but styles of cooking.
I tell you, that sounds awesome. And I may have to try it out sometime myself.
It was, I thought about doing, I'll tell you my idea what I thought about. I thought about, you know how they sell the thin ribeyes at the grocery store? Mm-hmm. That, you see everybody getting and basically making fajitas out of or strips or whatever, or like you would order at a Mexican restaurant. Yeah. Thin. I thought about buying one of those ribeyes and doing a psh, psh, really quick and then battering it and doing it, fry it off to see how that went. Because I think
it would be tough.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think if you got it to medium rare, it wouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. If you pull it medium rare, it shouldn't be tough, but
I don't know how the oil's going to react to it. It's my only thing. With it being that thin, it would
definitely
be
because of the thinness.
Have to practice it first. Have to have the right amount.
Yeah, because with it being that thin, you may not be able to do the sear on it. Yeah. But New York strips. But I can see the country fried ribeye having that fat cap, batter on it, gravy.
Oh, you mean New York strip?
No, I'm talking about if you did a ribeye.
Oh yeah,
a big ribeye too. Well, I bet that'd be good.
It'd be something totally different. But
I guess you could do any cut, really.
A filet would work good.
It should. Now you get comments about that one ruining the filet, but
you really can't unless you overcook a filet. I don't know how you can ruin it.
I don't either.
I really don't.
Have you ever done beef Wellington?
I actually have not.
We haven't either. We've been talking about it.
But we had beef Wellington bites the other night.
As appetizer.
As an appetizer. And so I guess they took their mushrooms, cooked them down, and took like a cube of filet, like a beef tip, right? Seared it off really quick. And then I'm assuming they took prosciutto and maybe put down some of the mushroom and then rolled the beef in it. And basically just wrapped a puff pastry around it and baked it off little old bitty bites. And it's pretty good.
Well, beef Wellington, that's another one a lot of people are really intimidated by. And I've never made it.
A lot of prep.
Yeah, and that's a lot of it. But, a lot of people are intimidated. And I've always said I was going to do one just to show everybody if this old redneck can do it, anybody can. But
I'd like to do a spin-off on a pork one.
I feel like beef Wellington is a thing, and then I feel like a lot of people don't even do it, but you've always heard of a Turdunkin.
You can order those, though.
I know, but it's not the same.
You're not going to stuff it yourself.
Why? Are you scared?
I'm not scared to stuff it. You should have known that the first time I met you.
Well, you've never done one. That was an awful comment, by the way.
Yes, it was.
Beep, beep, beep.
Well, you asked for it. Don't say stuff like that to me.
Asking you about food.
Well,
All right.
You can order a Turdunkin, however you want to say it.
However you properly say. I probably said it wrong. I don't know. I've never eaten it, so I don't know. Have you tried one before?
I want to say that I have somewhere.
Have you ever tried one?
I've never tried it
either. I'm sure it's very
I
interesting.
want to say I did one time when I was off on a trip in Texas or somewhere. I don't remember.
It must not have been very memorable.
It was in my wild days.
Mm.
Yeah, it was in my wild days. I was drinking heavily, so I don't remember. Yeah, just being honest, I don't remember.
Well, another question that we didn't get to when we were talking about the Flying Dutchman. I know he has, but have you ever been to In-N-Out?
I have.
You have? What do you think of it?
I actually, it was last year while I was in Vegas, and I did a video
That's
review
where we
on it.
first went in the beginning.
Animal style?
I didn't do the animal style. I was told that later on. Of course, I didn't know a whole lot about it. I got the burger and the fries, and I'll be honest, I was really unimpressed.
You have to get an animal style to really, I think, what everybody's talking about with In-N-Out, the whole secret menu thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just the hype of that.
We haven't had it in years.
We hadn't had it in years. It's
Every
good.
time we would go to Vegas, we used to go to one there.
And we've passed them in other places
We've been to
just
one
hadn't-
in Texas also one time, but it's been years.
And there's got one coming to Tennessee, right?
I haven't heard.
I believe so. We will have to Google that. But if I'm not mistaken, In-N-Out is coming to Tennessee. There was some kind of deal cut for a distribution center somewhere near Clarksville or somewhere, I want to say. And they're going to open up an In-N-Out and start going back toward the West Coast with it.
Well, they'd make a lot of money. I mean, that's kind of one of them deals. They'd have the market kind of nowhere else to get one in the area.
I don't know how much you've studied up about them or read about them. They have a real interesting business model and how their workers get paid and their management and how they're all treated and the cleanliness. I do like a lot of that. As far they almost have like that Chick-fil-A mentality. You know what I mean? Except they're not closed on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my experience with them was at one time, but even being in the middle of Vegas, I mean, it's pretty timely. Seemed like a pretty clean restaurant and everything. I mean, I didn't have any complaints on that side. I just thought it was a little bland for me personally.
Yeah.
So was that wasn't your first time to fly, was it, to Vegas when you went?
Yeah, it was.
It was? What did you think about the Vegas airport when you landed there?
I thought that, it was something. It was, I mean, of course, you got the slot machines everywhere. That place was just packed. It wasn't somewhere for somebody like me, I'll tell you that much.
So what did you this is rolling to nothing's down on this paper about this. This is great. What did you think about Las Vegas first off?
I mean, it was okay. If you want to go spend a whole bunch of money, we was there. Of course, it's for a bachelor party. We had a great time, but to me, it was one of them places that I wouldn't want to spend more than 2 or 3 days. Like, we was there for a week. It was cool, but
You can't do Vegas a week.
We were there for like 7 days when we went.
Yeah,
one
you can't
time.
do
too
that. I
long.
think you're
It
3
is.
days tops.
yeah, 2 or 3 days,
That's
you're good.
it. Yeah, you get in and out. It's the truth. They pump too much oxygen in that city. You can't. I'm serious. You don't ever get tired out there.
Well, I mean, there's no windows in the casinos, no clocks. I mean, it's crazy. But I tell you, the best part of that trip was the last day. I rented a car. The bachelor party was over. Everybody left. I rented a car. I went out to the Hoover Dam, went out to Boulder, Henderson, and just explored. And that's the best part of the trip.
How did you like the Hoover Dam?
It was cool.
Did you take the dam tour?
I didn't.
We did.
We took the
We
dam
have a
tour.
picture somewhere.
I had to catch a flight back home, so I walked it and looked at everything, and like I said, I went out Henderson out there actually to try a barbecue restaurant. I forget the name of it, but there's one in Vegas and there's one in Henderson. And I did, which I'll be doing that again for an upcoming trip. I got online and restaurant suggestions. Everybody said had to try this barbecue place. And I can't think of the name of it, but it's pretty good. I mean, to be restaurant barbecue, you can't set your standards to the roof. You just can't.
You're right. It's too hard to other people to execute that type of stuff. I've had friends in the business, and there's only a few handful of restaurateurs that are able to execute at that high of a standard.
Absolutely. You can't. it's very hard unless you're on a certain level to commercialize good barbecue.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a few restaurant recommendations when you're out of town in places. You call me in certain barbecue cities, and I'll tell you where to go. Because there's definitely some. Slaps Barbecue, Kansas City. Joe's at Kansas City. I hear great things about it. I have not been there. Travis Clark's restaurant in Oklahoma. Yeah. Good. I would tell you if David Steadman's was still open in Illinois to go there because it was one of the best at one time, but it's closed.
Little Miss Barbecue in Arizona.
Yeah, Little Miss Barbecue in Arizona.
It's very good.
Really
and
good.
lots of Texas places.
Yeah, lots of Texas places.
Which, restaurant reviews are getting bigger and bigger, and people say they enjoy them when I do them. So I try to when I go out of town, but you may either find this funny or you may side with me. But, like, if I'm out of town for a week, I choose one barbecue restaurant.
I'm with you.
I eat barbecue so much that, of course, in a lot of the suggestions, barbecue this, barbecue. I choose the most recommended barbecue restaurant, and then I eat other food. I eat so much barbecue that I don't want to sit there and eat more barbecue every day. It's not that it's not good.
What city we're in, we may have it more than once, but it's usually just a lunch deal. We never go to a barbecue for dinner. And we try to go to really visit our friends that we've made out on the barbecue trail or people that we've met through acquaintances. And a lot of us just going and, texting. A lot of us just texting them on the phone, hey, man, I'm in town, want to come by and see you. And you know how that is. That turns into, hey, man, come on back out here and all that. And it's just catching up with people because we used to travel so much cooking.
Oh, yeah.
We know a ton of people. And it's always good to catch up with those people now. And because a lot of those people are not cooking on the circuit anymore. We've kind of passed it on now. Other people are doing that kind of stuff. And it's just good to see what everybody's up to and what everybody's doing. And everybody still cooks a little bit, one or two, but nothing like what everybody used to. Mm-hmm. So did you eat at any other restaurants when you were in Vegas besides barbecue that you really enjoyed? Did you go to any good steakhouses?
Let's see. I had a really good, it's called Tacos El Gordo. They did street-style tacos. Man, the place was packed through the roof. We actually didn't do any steakhouses. We didn't do any reservations. We just kind of went on the fly the whole week.
How were the wings at Bunny Ranch?
I couldn't tell you.
I think that place is closed now.
But now I didn't post a video on it, and I should have. It had controversy. I checked out Gordon Ramsay's Fish and Chips over there, which is a fast food restaurant. I get it. But it was terrible. I mean, it was plumb bad.
We've been to some celebrity restaurants that were not as good as what we thought they should have been. I will tell you, Bobby Flay's Mesa was really good when we went there in Las Vegas, though.
Is it still there? I guess
I
it
think
is.
so, yeah.
It's a good restaurant. We went there more than once.
Yeah.
Multiple years.
And then now the Italian restaurant in the Bellagio is closed. The Olive, I think they've changed it or something. But they change all those restaurants out like every 3, 4, 5 years,
A lot of them. What's the steakhouse in our hotel that we were staying at?
Vic and Anthony's.
Vic and Anthony's.
It's really good. It was one of the top 10 in the nation is what they were claiming.
It was good. Probably not the
it's
best
really
I ever
good,
had,
but I don't know if it was top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody says go with the Golden Steer, and I couldn't get reservations. Actually, I wanted to do it on my last day when I was just touring. Couldn't get any reservations.
Yeah, I hear about that. If you go back to Vegas, let us know, though. We know somebody. We know some private drivers out there and stuff like that, pick you up and can get you in places that, and this guy's really cool. Really cool.
I'll keep that in mind because,
when we used him, like, he would go in the backs of the casinos, like in the alleyways, and he would, like, make a phone call, and somebody would open up a door, and we would walk in somewhere. You never went through a main entrance. It was the craziest stuff. I mean, just pure wild. Like, shows, concerts, it didn't matter. He had people everywhere.
Kind of scary, honestly. It
was kind of cool if you asked me.
Not sure what he was into,
that
but
was
never
contacts
asked.
in Vegas. Yeah,
he was a Russian fellow.
I wouldn't ask.
I mean, I still got his
Exactly.
number in my phone. He's a nice
He was
guy.
nice to us. That's all that matters.
He fought MMA too.
Nice guy. He did, dude.
Yes,
I mean,
he
he's
did.
not
It was-
lying, but
It was Yeah, I'll tell you some more stuff off camera, by the way. It's a good trip. Oh, so looking ahead, what, Memphis in May is going to be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
So are you ready?
I'm beyond ready.
All right, so we got some ancillaries. We got to decide what you're going to cook and all that kind of stuff coming up. And it's all you. You handle it. I'll help you if you need some help. But hopefully this year we've secured a little bit bigger spot. And I got a new trailer that'll hopefully be ready in a few weeks. We got to get down here because I sold that other one. But other than that, everything's pretty much ready to go besides gathering up and loading up.
That's it. I'll be ready to go myself. I think we're going to have a good time and hopefully have us a good outcome.
I hope so. And we're actually going to be cooking South Haven Spring Fest. What's on the calendar? April the what?
April.
It's 26th and 27th.
Yeah, April 26th and 27th. So if you're available April 26th and 27th, want to come hang out on Friday and Saturday down here at South Haven, you're more than welcome. I think we're going to cook a little crawfish. Maybe that Thursday or Friday night, probably a Friday night. And Friday evening anyway, and just hang out. I ain't cooking up my ribs there for a practice run. But.
I may have to look at my work schedule and see all that, but yeah, if I'm available, I'll be there.
Maybe fun. Boss man can let you schedule. He can bounce around. I seen he took a barbecue class this weekend. Dan did.
He did.
Over there with a couple of teams that we actually sponsored, Memphis Barbecue Supply. I hadn't talked to anybody, but I've seen online that everybody was well pleased with the class.
Yeah, I seen some comments there on the class, and it seemed like everybody had a good time.
Yeah. Jimmy does a good job out there hosting at Memphis Barbecue Supply, any of that. Well, hell, is there anything else you would like to talk about, Jake?
No, not off the top of my head. I'm just, like I said, happy to be back out here hanging out. And appreciate you having me and showing my seasons. And
well, it won't be long. We're going to be selling some of that barbecue Big Jake rub, too. We're going to be carrying it on our online store and kind of helping Jake do some commercially shipping, some of his counts and stuff like that. Try to help him out and get him in some stores. And I tasted both of these right here in the bottle. I like both of them myself.
We're just trying to help the world find where it's at.
That's exactly right. Well, if y'all like what we're doing on our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along with your friends. We'll be back next week with another episode of Shootin The Que. And, Jake, where can everybody find you at?
They find me at Barbecue with Big Jake. That's BBQ with Big Jake on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And I got a link in my bio with my website in there. I'll check it out.
Y'all heard that from Jake. We'll see y'all next week on Shootin The Que.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin The Que podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Que.